Hello, hi, and welcome to All Our Hearts and Minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart.
Yeah.
Then there's me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Okay, listeners, back with another episode. Um, here with Kimmy.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in it to win it. New year.
Yep.
First episode was going up a little bit late, but of the year, but we're hitting you back with a quick second one.
Right? Exactly.
And so first, we got to do before anything gets started. Let's start.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing, Kimmy?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm all right. Just, trying to adjust to a few changes, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's January. Like first quarter of the year, it's January. But so far so good. I can't really complain too much, but
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, it's picking up at work. That
Uh-huh.
first quarter, man, I'm telling you,
Phew.
have to come out strong. know. But how
um,
about you? How you doing, girl?
I am. I'm trying to hold on. Yeah, like you said, it's been.
First
I'm trying to
quarter,
hold
man.
on.
I'm telling you.
I would say, like personally, everything's like I mean, it is what it is. I'm trying to maintain, you know, keep that new year
Hmm.
energy personally, but work wise, professionally, it's like you said, it's like I'm gripping
Right?
by the nail beds right now, like
Telling you.
boy.
Telling you.
If I'm being honest, people,
Yeah.
it's not always sunshine and rainbows. It's like it's great to
I
have
wish it were.
you
I
know
know. And so that's why I can appreciate when I do see us, some sunshine and some rainbows because right I know
yeah,
I'm white fisting it be
yeah,
like
right there.
pull on tight.
So that's what it is. But hey, we all go through that sometimes in our professional lives, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's a part of the nature of things.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it sounds like we're doing okay. We're living, we're trying to
You know?
maneuver, move pieces, but we're doing okay. And
Mhm.
all right, so let's just jump into our headlines then. And we're going to start with, well, before I again jump into the headlines, thank you all for
Mhm.
tuning in as usual. Of course, we
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yes, we
Um,
do.
just a reminder for you to rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, leave
Mhm.
comments, good or bad. We want to hear it.
Mhm.
Or wherever you listen to the podcast, please engage, subscribe,
Mhm.
rate us, whatever there is to react to the podcast. We love it, we need it, and we
Love to
appreciate
hear
it.
from y'all. Mhm.
Okay. All right, back to the headline. So, big news. We didn't talk about this in our first episode because, the year, 11 days,
Right?
11 days into the year, there's some bigger thing, fish to fry, I guess.
Okay. Right.
But I mean, this is a pretty big fish for us because again, we're
Mhm.
we're listeners. We're based in Toronto, up in Canada, and our boy Trudeau finally threw in the hat. He threw in the
Yes.
hat,
Wave
threw
that
out the
white
flag,
flag.
waved
Yep.
the white
Mhm.
flag. He Trudeau resigned. So
Yep.
on January 6th, Justin Trudeau, our prime minister in Canada, resigned from his position. And what does this mean, folks? What does this mean? I mean, Kim and I have talked about Trudeau,
Mhm.
um,
Yep.
even up until recently. Forget about general Canadian politics, but in general,
Mhm.
we were talking about like it's not looking good for Trudeau.
No.
last time we spoke about him, it was
Uh. Uh.
the other part, Jagmeet
Sing.
Singh, like
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
disbanding his party from the Liberal
Mhm.
Party. But in
That was
short,
the
even
that
if
was the tip of the eye. Like
hell
that was the
yeah, I
downfall. Like
mean,
that was
it
when
was
we
always
started a slippery slope.
Yeah, because now the
Mhm.
power that he did have is gone, right? So we everybody will. So, but to get our listeners to understand, and it's long story short, without knowing everything about Canadian politics, what does
Mhm.
this mean? It just here in Canada, I'm sure you've been hearing. There's a lot of rumblings with people not being very happy with the Trudeau government.
No.
Lot of drama, a lot of politicking and stuff like that. Long story short, Canadians and the party are not happy with Trudeau.
No.
Regardless of your politics, it's just hard to be a leader if you don't have the backing of your party. Period. Point blank.
No.
And
And if your party is jumping ship, then I mean, what does it leave you to do? Like
yeah,
there's
so
members of his party that kind of
yes, exactly. That so
said I'm
exactly,
out.
and a lot of them outside of maybe whatever decision, whoever was upset with whatever decisions, it's also
Mhm.
like them knowing, well, the Liberal Party doesn't stand a chance if he's our leader because Canadians are not happy with
No, at all.
Trudeau. And so I know last time we spoke about this, you're like, yeah, it's gonna be if Trudeau's the leader, it's gonna be hard to vote Liberal.
Very much.
So he did it.
Yeah.
He did it. He finally buckled under the pressure,
Yeah.
and now he is out. Um,
They're trying to find a replacement and
yes,
from the Liberal Party.
yeah. I haven't seen anybody. I hate
Nobody
to
that
say this.
I would say that's even remotely, even for the short time, because I can see that they will call an early election.
Yeah.
And I do see the Conservative Party taking over.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, because it's like similar to the U.S. It's too late to find somebody to head the party and drum up all the support and get everybody to
mhm,
know what they're all about.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
And the Conservative Party has been putting in work when you think
Yeah, for a
about it,
while with this
because
guy. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they've been, expressing themselves and what they want to do and how they want to change Canada. And at this point, I'm willing to give it a try,
Yeah, I mean,
because
after what we've been through, yeah, it's
yeah, it's like
like whether the
people are renting. It got so bad that people were renting parts of their bed. We were a meme internationally. Like, it's horrible, and something has to be done. And so I'm glad that he finally got the hint,
yeah, right.
because I don't know how many, we see different press conferences of him, going around to different parts of Canada, and I haven't seen him well received in other
No, oh no,
provinces,
no.
amongst other, no, not at all. So, I mean, right. So I think he finally got the hint, and he's out of there.
Yeah, so
And hopefully he doesn't, it's not, it's bad, but we don't know how bad it really is, because that party, I feel, has been hiding certain things from
mhm.
the Canadian citizens, and we's gonna find out. We's gonna find out the truth. And so I see an early election and our government changing
Yeah.
drastically.
And you know what? It's just the nature of the situation. If he was more unselfish and prideful and he stepped down a year ago, I feel like the Liberal Party would be in a much better place in terms of continuing to
Yeah.
run the party sorry, run the government here in federal government. But hey, so when he resigned, so it was earlier this year, and on top of all this stuff with his people in his party who stepped down and left and been critical of his leadership, which obviously is bad
Mhm.
enough, on top of like the general
Mhm.
public not being happy. The man has been in power for over 9 years, going on 10,
Right?
right? And two, during that time he lost his family.
Yeah. Entire family.
Like, he's divorced his wife, and obviously when that happens, if you have children, you're separated from the
Yeah.
family unit is shattered pretty much.
Yeah.
Whether so even that, it's like, it's okay, but it's okay, Justin, you put in your time,
Right?
you did what you needed to do.
Mhm.
Go look after yourself, especially
Yeah.
after COVID. Anybody who was a leader during COVID, I don't know why you're not running for the hills.
Right? And I
So
think, and I don't know why he didn't take the hint sooner.
right,
But I think they're just gonna find some any old body to replace just for the
they don't have
time
a
being.
choice. Yeah, yeah, just to hold the spot. Yeah,
They're really not gonna. They're not amongst the shaker removers. Really, they're not gonna do anything in the short time that they'll be around. But I do definitely see the Conservative Party taking over and our, you know, government as we know it transforming. And
yeah,
I'll be honest, like I'm kind of excited to see what they're gonna do.
yeah. After this, it's like, listen,
Like this, like at this point, anything is better than this.
yeah, pretty much that's what it is.
Like I can't imagine another 5 years of this.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no! No, it
Hell
wasn't
to
gonna
the
happen.
damn no! Like I don't think
And
we'd
this is coming
survive.
from a liberal voter. I vote
Okay,
liberal. Okay, this is,
okay.
but he made it untenable.
No,
Untenable.
because I think his agenda, he used the Liberal Party under a guise, like a disguise, and I
Hmm.
feel like his agenda was very much about big business and
Mm.
shaking the right hands and having the right
Hmm.
people in your pocket. To be quite honest, because I don't see how you could ignore the struggle of your everyday man, like, and it's been for years. So I don't know. I don't know, but every conference I see him at, somebody is telling him, "Get out of here. We don't
Yeah.
want you anymore.
Yeah.
Quit." I've heard it all, and it'll be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see. Okay, well, wish him all the best.
Yes, I
It was
do.
time, and he said that this country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. That's what we've been telling you, Justin. But anyway, that was a part of his resignation speech when from January 6th. So we'll see what's going on. I mean, this is in our front door for once. We're talking about,
Yeah.
you know, but anyway,
Mhm.
we'll move on to the next story. When
Yes.
Miss Wendy Williams, a recurring topic on our podcast for
Yes.
multiple reasons. At the end of the day, positively, she is a media icon,
Mhm. Mhm.
a black woman who created an empire in gossip and celebrity news, and we have seen her very public decline and downfall,
Yeah. Mhm.
which has been very tough. And so
Yeah.
this past week, there was two things. There was an event, a couple of things leading up to her being on the
Mhm.
Breakfast Club this week, talking to Charlemagne and the rest of the guys, the people up there at the Breakfast Club on the phone with her niece.
Mhm.
And I didn't watch the whole thing because it is something where it's like at some point, especially up until the point with the documentary, I'm like, it was like, what are we doing here? Are we exploiting this woman's situation? Like, and I don't think that's what it was on the Breakfast Club. I think leading up to that, we saw the videos of her going to her son's graduation from
Mhm.
college. So we saw those videos where she seemed very lucid and aware and aware of what's going on. And there's a video of her talking to whoever, standing with her brother and waiting for who's employing, supposed to be quote unquote looking after her,
Mhm.
um getting her car. And she again seemed very much like the Wendy that we know in terms of speech and
Mhm.
like being a cognizant and knowing very much knowing what's going on. So it was nice to see. And then the third thing before she got on the Breakfast Club is Charlemagne came on the show maybe a week before and said, "You know what? I spoke to Wendy on the phone. She doesn't sound what is the word they use about her?" And now that we here, I'm struggling with the word. She doesn't seem mentally incapacitated or whatever they said. And so sorry, incapacitated.
Mhm.
And he
Mhm.
pretty much, he's like, I had a 20-30 minute call with Wendy. She does not sound like how they've been describing her, and da 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 da. And I think he's pretty much, because of their relationship when he was on Hot 97 and they had that successful show and everything that went down, he's trying to advocate for her and be a voice for her while she doesn't have a voice for herself right now, right? And so somehow they're able to get her online on a Zoom call to call in. Anyway, what Kim and I were saying,
Mhm.
two things. The clips that I did see, again, I didn't watch the full thing because I think the whole thing is pretty sad. In
Mhm.
like, I just want to hear what's going on in the courts for this woman to get control, if not her, her family, to have
Right?
control of her
Right?
and her wealth. She should be
Right?
able to stay with her family. Her father is still alive. Her brother is still alive. Her son is around. Her niece, who's an
Right.
adult, who's like an adult who can, who has been advocating for her, is
Mhm.
around. There's no, it's not like doesn't have anybody. But anyway, the debate was for us when we were talking about it is, why the hell was Wells Fargo
Okay?
able to um separate this woman from her family
Huh?
and have control over her ins and outs? I just saw a clip of Lauren on the Breakfast Club saying that she was invited by Wendy and she tried to go,
Mhm.
and she was pretty much felt threatened by the people who came to greet her
Mhm.
when she was downstairs and on the phone with Wendy Williams, where Wendy's directing her how to come up and sue to secure, like, big men come and tell her that there's no Wendy Williams here.
Mm.
So like, that doesn't this something's basically not adding up. And
Mhm.
fine, listen, I'm not, even though I heard the call and Wendy sounded okay to me, like she's not incapacitated, but
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say that. Remember, there was rumors of her going off with the alcohol and
Mhm.
drugs, and that it wasn't necessarily. And then we had the dementia
Mhm.
diagnosis. I don't know if it's one or the other, or a mix of the two. Regardless, obviously that means she needs some extra care around her. It doesn't answer why the hell it's a company and not her family. What were you gonna say, Kim?
Well, you know, it was so sad to hear her on the
Mm-hmm.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
I just want to lead with that
Mm-hmm.
because I was very optimistic when I heard that this was going to occur, this interview that they had over the phone with her on the Breakfast Club. And it was kind of disheartening to hear her. But what I will say, from what I can, right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
she's not the Wendy of yesteryear.
Mm-mm.
She's not. However, she is not mentally incapacitated to the point where she cannot hold a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
where she cannot still be present in said conversation,
Mm.
and where she can at times lead that conversation. So
Yeah.
for me, that doesn't seem like somebody who is so unable to take care of themselves or to at least make the decision as to who is going to care for
Yeah.
them.
Right. Mm.
So I want to say that because Wells Fargo, I don't know who put you up to this, but I don't know how we get from you holding my money to now me having been placed in this, what did they call it? They called it
Conser- Conservatorship.
no, but they called it a fancy jail or a luxury jail.
Oh, that's what they were saying. She
That's
Wendy
what
was
they
saying.
were calling it.
Mm.
So we seen what happened with Britney Spears.
Whew.
Okay. Now, what
And
I
that was her
will say
family.
though is when Britney Spears came out of this,
Mhm.
out of the whole situation, she still wasn't quite there.
But
But
yeah,
she's
yeah,
in there enough where she can function and make decisions for her
for
own
herself.
life.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
point.
that Wendy is a lot more mentally stable than I saw Britney Spears being
Hmm.
at times, right? And so, or at least not as questionable. Now, I think that all that has happened to Wendy has really taken a toll on her mental
Yeah.
capacity, as well as her illnesses. She has Graves. She's always said this. And Wendy likes to party. Let's keep it a buck. She likes to party. She likes to drink. She has she was addicted to drugs, heroin.
Yeah.
So these things take effect on your mental, on your body, on just your she's aging. So yes, I can see that she's not where she used to be, but she's not where we are. What I don't understand how we got here. Like, I'm really confused. And all I remember in terms of what was been reported was that we went from her having this issue with Wells Fargo to now being in this conservatorship to now her family fighting desperately to just be able to communicate with her and call her. How did we get here? Right? And
Mhm.
so it's very puzzling. It's very um but what it is it's a cautionary story.
Yeah.
It's a cautionary story. While we are all within our right minds, we need to set certain things up, and set certain things into, she's been having ongoing issues. And I think the total breakdown was with her husband and what
Yeah.
he was doing. And I
Mhm.
understand that, right? But before you quite lost it, you should have taken like, when you went on that, um, I would say mental trip,
Mm.
because it was too much. And
Yes.
sometimes the human brain will do certain things to protect it when it
Yeah.
can't
True.
handle the overload, right? And so I can see she's come back from that, right? Not
Mm.
100% though. I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
keep it real.
No. Mm.
Charlemagne is a good friend
Yeah.
because he was backing her left, right, and damn center.
Yeah. Well, I will.
Okay.
You know what I was gonna say? There's another debate where people are saying that we're being a little too optimistic because they're bringing up stories with their own family members who may have been diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's, and saying that they, especially when the disease first comes on, is onset, is that they do have moments of clarity.
Yeah.
They do have times where they are back and sharp and to themselves as you know them, but they
Yeah.
can slip back into that confusion anytime. So I it's not saying that I believe, I don't know what to believe. Like, if you've been seeing, there's been so much spin with this, and on purpose at that, that I don't know what's true or what's not. But what I do want um for Wendy, that is that she and her as an individual and her wealth is not controlled by a company. So there's a question that you were asking. You
Mhm.
asked me when we were talking about this, about why the heck is Wells Fargo and whoever they appointed, their financial guardian, have this much control over Wendy and she
Mhm.
can't see her family? Because that's my thing. It's like, I'm like, everything that I've heard, like, it's all shady and dark shadows, but it still doesn't make sense. Why does the family have to beg to see her? And
I just don't understand
if
this.
she wants to see them, and she wants them to visit her wherever she's at, or she wants to go to them, why is it a whole orchestration? If she wants to make a call to the Breakfast Club, why is it a whole orchestration?
Yeah.
Because they done already went to the news and media and the courts to say that she's mentally incapacitated, right? So if
Mhm.
they're scared of anything that she's going to say, they already did their job. They already went to the public to say, to discredit her and make it seem like she is off her rockers completely.
But how do we bypass the family?
So here's how. I was doing some little research, and like I said, I was going along the what I was saying is that most likely it's a protective order. The company Wells Fargo is where she holds her wealth, right? Her money. Wells Fargo is not just a bank; it's a wealth management company, and
Mhm.
there's many wealth management companies. But the thing with wealth management companies and banks, they want to hold your money. When they have your money, they have more money to make their value higher. They have more money to do their investments and whatever they want to do in the market, right? So they thrive on people keeping their money in the bank. That's why people always say invest in your money, don't leave it sitting in the bank, because the bank is doing a whole heap of nonsense.
Mhm.
Um and making a whole bunch of money off your money while your money is just sitting in the bank.
Mhm.
So um but yes, so a company like this has the right to go to the courts. So the courts who so basically there's the conservatorship could have been started by her family. Obviously
Mm.
they're her family, they don't want to. So if the family started it and they appointed who they wanted to appoint, that could have been a one thing, right?
Mhm.
But if that the problem in this scenario, again, this is just Wells Fargo initiated the legal proceedings to have her deemed to be determined and tested to be an incapacitated person. And that's why they were able, since they initiated it, they had the proof, they were able in the courts, and let's not talk about they were able to appoint who they wanted as a financial guardian. Now think about this. Remember we were talking about Brittany's family is the one who initiated it, right? And
Mhm.
her father initiated, and he granted himself
Mhm.
to be the guardian that in control of her personal and financial affairs, and that's why he was able to exercise so much um control.
Mhm.
But you see, it's a person. Remember, the way that the father was one of the biggest things with Brittany is like how he was able to do this for so long. And
Right.
we determined that the pretty much is the story on the block is he had the judge was in his pocket. We know this.
Yeah.
That's an easy thing. When there's wealth involved, a judge can be bought off. So if the judge who's proceeding is kind of in the pot, and
Mhm.
Wells Fargo is a massive global investment company,
Yeah.
that's not a hard thing for them to make sure that whatever they want ruled in that court to go down. And so,
Right. And
mhm,
I could understand
mhm,
the extent of it having to do with her finances and where she lives,
mhm,
but her freedoms should not be compromised. So, okay, you take all of her money and you put her in a home. Okay, fine. Okay, she's limited to that home. What her pleasantries, like like having TVs and whatever is in that home.
mhm.
But people coming and going to see her should not be regulated
Yeah,
because of your
that's
wealth,
the questionable part. Yeah,
right? and
exactly.
and and also her comings and goings should not be regulated by Wells Fargo and this conservatorship.
Well,
She
that's
should
why.
well she should
Mhm,
be able to come and
mhm,
go and do as she pleases, right? If
mhm,
it's just Wells Fargo's looking after her money,
mhm,
but what it seems like when they're calling it a luxurious jail is
mhm,
that she's limited to her freedoms. She can't call whoever
yeah,
she wants.
that's what
She
she said.
can't. She can't. People can't call her. What we talking about here? People
Mhm,
can't call her.
They take her phone. She said they take her phone.
What?
She was on the interview crying because she's like,
Exactly. So this is
mhm,
beyond you monitoring my wealth because you're greedy.
mhm,
You're limiting my freedoms. So that's a whole different and that's the part where I don't understand. How did this all go down? Now I understand that Wells Fargo's probably, lining the pockets with whoever judge. I get that.
mhm.
And I don't see or hear much of like a progression
Yeah,
in getting her free.
right.
Now, well, with that said, look how long it took for Britney Spears.
But we didn't really know how bad it was with
And
Britney
and
until
to be honest, it wasn't until the public got
yes,
involved
yes, exactly.
that it really got pushed and really got investigated, and now we really see what's going on. And now she's on by herself out here taking care of herself, you know doing her videos and whatever she's doing out here. But
Mm,
hey, what I do have to say is that this is cautionary, and we need to look at this as this is a woman who spent her life earning all of this money, and now Wells Fargo has come along and has said, we are going to take it, control it. Like I don't
And keep her prisoner. It's one
yeah,
thing.
literally.
That's the part that's very questionable because I mean the whole thing's questionable, but at least for it not to look so bad, like we learned from Britney Spears, people are more are not as ignorant about these type of things as they were 10 years ago. So it's like Wells Fargo, your reputation. So again, I think it was very dangerous for Wendy to do that, and she's going to have some type of a reprimand, and that's why she
Yeah,
was
that's what it
upset.
sounds
But
like.
I think this is the exposure we need to get people knocking on Wells Fargo's door to be like, why the hell do you have this woman a prisoner right now? It's not making any sense. It can't just be because you deem her mentally unstable. It's that can't just be it.
Oh my god. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
that's okay.
No, but you know what? Prayers up to Wendy
Yeah,
Williams
prayers up to Wendy.
and free Wendy.
Free her,
We
man.
need to
Free her.
start that same movement that we started for Britney Spears out here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we need to say free Wendy Williams. I think her family is more than capable of taking care of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Wendy is cognitive enough to make the right decisions as to who should help her.
Who should help her exactly?
Help is the
Yeah,
key word. Because I don't think that they have really tried to push that this woman has lost it.
completely. Yeah. And mentally, they came out. They had the nerve to do a press release to, to say she was mentally incapacitated.
Feisty, yo.
That when I hear the word, when I hear the phrase mentally incapacitated, I'm like, is
Yeah,
she a
she's
vegetable?
yeah, well, close to
That's what
unable to hold
that's
conversation.
that is the only thing that comes to mind. If somebody is mentally incapacitated, even if you have some mental issue, there's ways you could communicate, whether it's on a paper or
Yeah.
thinking. But when you say mentally incapacitated, that's something like you're laying in bed and you're completely
Yeah,
zonked out.
you're incapable of holding a conversation, of using your mouth to speak. Like what? That wasn't what I heard. But hey, prayers up again to Wendy Williams, because this is like I am so saddened to see that this is her demise, and it's publicized. Like it's everywhere.
Mm,
You know? It's everywhere. And the catalyst was you, Calvin. You were the catalyst to that. You started this downward spiral. But I'm glad that she was courageous enough, and that Charlemagne made sure that she had the platform,
mm-hmm.
and everybody's talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, as they should, and I'm glad that she did take that leap, but prayers up for her. Lord God, I can't believe, man, that take the woman money and just dash her away, brethren. Can you
Mm-mm.
imagine? And she
Mm.
put in some work, B, to get to where she is right now, and to know that they just took her money just like that and threw her away. Like yesterday's trash. Like, what are you talking about? This is Wendy Williams. Like, but I hope to hear her in the future maybe go on the radio,
Yeah,
because one thing that she did say is that she is the radio, and I think so too. I think so too. So
yeah,
I hope to hear, you know, better things coming from Wendy Williams and her situation.
yeah. Prayers up. Okay, so we'll move on to Drizzy Drake, Aubrey Graham. He made the lawsuit that we talked about official.
Prince
The
Petty.
lawsuit
Yeah.
is official. Um, and we talked about this at length on our one of our couple last episodes before the year ended. So we all saw what was supposed. Basically, the only difference between what we talked about last year when he first put the petition in is that it's official. It's an actual lawsuit and not a what do they call it? What he did before. When you, it's not the petition for the lawsuit, but the actual lawsuit is official now as of this week. And essentially, in short, it's pretty much, calling out UMG for defamation because they allowed one of their own artists, because remember Drake is on UMG as well, make a damaging false and damaging statements about him and his music, harming his reputation, alleging that UMG engaged in harassing behavior towards him. Remember his house got shut up.
Mm-hmm.
um and his he was in that house that day, and his son was in the house that day. That those details are in the lawsuit. And deceptive business practices, of course, where he's talking about the success of Not Like Us being by heavily boosted by UMG, which is
Mm-hmm.
right. Nothing new. That's standard practice for a big artist. So now Universal fired back, and they had a strongly worded statement that was filed on the same day, or
Mm-hmm.
later the day that they finally came out with the lawsuit. And with some of the things being said, not only are these claims untrue, but the notion that would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. We have
Mm-hmm.
invested massively in his music. Our employees around the world have worked tirelessly for many years to help him achieve his historic commercial and personal financial success.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout his career, this is what we were talking about. This is where the hypocrisy comes from Drake filing this, which
Yep.
we'll discuss. Throughout his career, Drake has intentionally and successfully used the UMG to distribute his music and poetry, to engage in conventionally outrageous back and forth rap battles, to express his feelings about other artists. He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence an artist's creative expression and to seek damages from UMG for distributing that artist's music. Um, and they also said in the statement that they denied the claim that they would defend Lamar or any artist if they were hit with such a lawsuit. Um, yeah, also, so in closing, they said, we have not and do not engage in defamation against any individual. At the same time, we will vigorously defend this litigation to protect our people and our reputation, as well as any artist who might directly or indirectly become a frivolous litigation target for having done nothing more than write a song. That's interesting. Well, they're saying what they're supposed to say. We know what these type of statements we're going to hear
Definitely. Yeah.
legally. They're saying what they need to say legally to continue to keep clear their name, which is totally fine.
Pretty
Um,
much.
I again, I think where we left this off in last
Mm-hmm.
time, where it's like the main point was like, even if Drake has a valid reason to sue UMG, we know he's not suing UMG because of UMG. That's you're suing because somebody at UMG got a lick on you.
Pretty much.
And these licks have happened to many artists in the history of hip
Mm-hmm.
hop, because rap beefs is a part of the culture.
Even by
Rap
your own
beefs,
hand, Drake.
yeah, he's been in a couple that he has actually won. And
Okay.
we're going to talk about that in a second. The Meek Mill one. Meek Mill came out with his 2 cents about this, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see where this. It'll be. It's still interesting to me because it's one of those things where legally it's very interesting. I think
Mm-hmm.
culturally we're like, this is not obviously clearly not a good look for Drake at all moving forward. And
No, it looks horrible.
I would love to hear from his lips. Maybe he won't do that now, but when it's all said and done, I would love to know what was going through his head when when he decided to move forward with this, or who convinced him, or whatever. I need to know the backstory on this because it doesn't make any sense, to
It
be
doesn't even
honest.
feel like this man is thinking,
Hmm.
because I think he's giving up hip hop. Like I've said this to you. I know you're holding out, to find out
Yeah,
about
yeah, I'm holding
Drake.
out.
But at the end of the day, I'm saying this man is exiting hip hop. You cannot come back from this. You can't. Musically, Okay, just think about what Drake has rapped about, what he's talked about. You can never ever be taken seriously. Right. So the demographics that would be appealing to hear your music is not going to be hip hop and rap people that are really into hip hop and rap. Bubblegum rap, okay, that's different. Yeah, maybe. You're still going to have the people who are interested in that, but this seems so petty. It does, and it seems hypocritical. And what I don't like is that I'm hearing this perspective of, oh, he's breaking the industry and he's making some sort of segue in the industry and how people are treated and blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of bullshit. Sorry, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Because when you were making money off of it and you were profiting and you were making diss tracks, it was a okay. But now you want to turn to that legal side of you, eh? And you want to go and fight for what exactly?
Hmm.
That's the part I'm trying to understand. What you really fighting for here? Do you know what I mean? Like, are you? Because you can't want to continue a career after this. You can't possibly want a career after this. You'll never reach the heights that you were at, and everything that you know Kendrick said in his song, you are fulfilling. So, like, miss me with it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's kind of lame. I know that his music. I'm not gonna take away from Drake and his music. Like, let's not do that. He made some segue. He made some bop. He made some really good songs that
Hmm.
I could still see a lot of people appreciating and listening to even
Of
after the
course. Of
shenanigans.
course, yeah.
However, going forward, right? The only reason why Drake is doing this is because it's affecting the bottom line for him. Because you don't take on the music industry in this way against such a popular artist. He's trying to literally sue for defamation.
Yeah. If you win, and if he wins, he better like to. If he might need to like not like listen.
You can't come back from this. As far as I'm concerned, you cannot.
I've been well, we know Kim and I are on different sides of the fence of this, but the lawsuit is like putting a dent in my hopes for Drake's comeback. Like it's put a big dent. Now I'm like, people might be right. So
I feel
um
like it's a done deal and he's taking the industry with him. And okay, cool, Drake. Like, all right. I understand that this hurt the bottom line for you, right? But you are making all Canadian artists, hip hop artists, look so soft right now, B. Like, for real.
yeah.
There's people who came before you,
Hmm.
like Chaclair and, like, there's so many other, and now nobody's gonna take anybody coming out of Canada in the hip hop game
That's done
seriously
for.
ever
I
again.
want
So
I want
you're
I
taking
wonder.
everybody with you, and it's like, you selfish little somebody.
That's a good point because forget the old school, the new school. Like we because of Drake, we've been able to get a lot of younger new rappers.
Okay,
So there's a guy, I don't know if he's on OVO, but his name's Smiley. He's a big Toronto rapper who's crossed over. The little MAGA one who was with that girl Koi Leray. What's his name? Oh gosh, I can't remember his name right now. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Pressure. Is his name Pressure? I think his name's Pressure. Or is the song named Pressure? Anyway, there's a few young guys who have been able to cross over,
right.
and now it's like,
But
eee.
it didn't just come so. There were people who put in some grassroots before Drake was anybody, and then now,
Mhm,
okay, people in America specifically that started this genre, let's
yeah.
just keep it a buck, that started this genre are now looking at us like these stupid ass Canadians. Like, are you for real?
Hmm.
You lose a battle and you want to come sue people for defamation? So when you were defaming Meek Mill, it was okay though.
Yeah, so yeah, Meek Mill came out now after all of this. He had his 2 cents, and he was talking about what happened after Drake pretty much buried him with back to back. And his tweets are very incoherent. People, I'm gonna read it as and try and interpret it the best of my ability. But remember, these are Meek Mill tweets, so
Okay.
good luck. But he said the label told me don't drop nothing. I went against that and dropped DC4 mixtape. Sherry Bryant back to me herself. 90K the first week to heat up. I couldn't make any playlist either that had me confused a little. Basically, I think that had him a little bit confused.
Mm-hmm.
Losing confidence, but I knew 80% was campaign, influence for the net only. To that point, he's essentially saying he knew that even though he had like a good first week, and he anticipated that usually in his experience in the music business, when your song and your album's heating up, your label's gonna get you on some playlists on Spotify, and that runs up the streams. None of that was happening because there was
Mm-hmm.
probably a very focused effort to suppress that. That's what he was saying. By who, you'd guess? Mm.
Okay.
He says another tweet that says, it all comes down to who you know. Once I started owning companies, I wanted to be in the convo with high level shakers and owners. If I made more than 100 million on a label, because not only the business I got, because of not only the business I got, and I deal with the top people at companies to get top results. I guess he's saying he wanted to make sure he had his own big money situation so he couldn't be bossed around by people at the label because he wanted to be at Drake's level. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about that $400 million deal that Drake had last time. So, he saw that as a situation to he needed to get out. He like, I need to be making hundreds of millions of dollars for these people to get anywhere and have any influence because they are able to shut me down because somebody else
Mm-hmm.
had that much influence on their label.
Mm.
So he
So
was literally told not to
okay.
drop anything else,
Okay.
and he did it. I mean, yeah.
Okay. So it's okay, right? When it's the table has turned. Now you want to sue people? I don't know. You look soft, bro. And to me, it's like I can't take you seriously as a rapper when you want to come talk about, you know, your gunplay and your songs and stuff. I can't take you seriously at all. I feel like you look so damn soft, and you're making a mockery out of Canadian hip hop because I will say that yeah, the Americans started hip hop, but I feel like in Canada we put a different twang on it. We put a different spin on it because we have West Indian roots, and so
Mhm.
you can hear our hip hop is more Caribbean sounding or based. And so like when you think of Cardinal Official, when you think about he took hip hop and he put a little spin on it
Mhm.
that was more catered and to us Canadians, and it's sad to see that Drake is doing this. Like, to be honest, like, we can talk all we want. At the end of the day, you look soft, bro. You
Yeah.
look real salty, and I think he's not gonna let it die. And if he doesn't let it die, and he presses forward,
He already did.
no, I mean
He-
continue to press forward.
Mhm.
Like actually we're sitting in front of judges and stuff, like for really
Mhm.
press
Yeah,
forward,
for real, for real. You're right. Till we get to the court, we don't know if it's
right?
fully.
and
Yeah.
and and we have a final judgment,
Mm.
then it's like, so I guess you're
Yeah,
going
I
into
agree.
rock and roll.
Even though even though I'm like holding out and I'm saying he's not done. Like this is a big dent in that in
Yeah,
that statement.
I don't see many people like, I don't know, this kind of
Yeah,
saltiness. Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
yeah.
It's not. It doesn't ever turn out good. Like, these
It's
things
just
don't
it's just
ever
really
turn out
proving
good,
it hurts me because it's like, damn,
right?
you're putting meaning to that, not like us. You're
Right?
putting a real meaning behind that,
Right?
not like us.
Right?
interesting. Anyway, I don't know.
I
Well,
don't
it is
know.
what it is.
No, it is what it is, but it don't look good. I'll be honest with you. It don't look good. It don't look good. And Drake, if I were you, I'd drop this shit and go crawl in a hole someplace. Like just for a little while. Let people miss you for a minute. You know what I mean? Like you're just up in it, all in it. And it just this is not good.
No, it's not. Even I could say it's like it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it looks really bad. Like and it looks like, you know what? Like Drake, did you not think like you thought really, really, really high of yourself, bro? Like to the point where you can't get knocked off that pedestal that you're on. You know, you
Mm.
like did you really think that you had this game locked down to the point where no one could step to you? You
Mm.
know? So after a while you have to think as an artist like were you just making music to just you're just making music to make it. Like you're not even maintaining a skill like J. Cole or something. You know, like this I don't know. It just it looks bad.
Yeah. All right,
That's
so
all
we'll
I gotta
move
say
on
about
to
him. I'm not
the tick.
happy, Drake. I'm not happy.
No, you gave up on him. That
Long
was you.
time.
You gave up on him, Kimmy.
Long time.
Drake, I'm rooting for you. I'm
Yeah,
rooting for you.
she gonna hold out for you. And you know what? If she turns out to be right, I will back away and say, "Go on, girl, with your bad self, holding out for Drake." But for me, not Shabazz.
I
Okay,
mean,
from the time
it's
I
not
heard
looking
lawsuit, I said, "You're
it's
done."
it's not looking optimistic, but I need to see when it says what it all says and when it's all said and done, when it really goes down.
You look bad.
Um. So,
Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
finally on our headlines, TikTok, the TikTok ban now.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, shit is real.
This
Shit
is
is real.
real in these streets, man. People are
Then you hear
upset.
stuff, you hear stuff, and you don't think it's really gonna
Whew.
happen, and then wow, this year between across
This is real.
2024, across the last quarter of 2024 and the first 20 days of 2025,
This is real.
um,
This is not a
there's
joke.
been a lot of crazy shit
Okay.
going down. It's a very it's giving very
Yes.
post post apocalyptic.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, so a while back,
The Americans
TikTok,
can't take another hit. That's all I gotta say.
they
Like they
just
just
did
can't. Like
the TikTok ban,
please,
and
God.
then Trump is going to be inaugurated on Monday. It's just ooh,
Hey, it's a
all right,
lot.
it's a lot. So yeah, so the U.S. Supreme Court ruled to to uphold the TikTok ban that is currently going on in the U.S. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Essentially, from what I've read, this means because Biden said that pretty much at first they're saying is Biden going to enforce it? Biden said no, I'm leaving it for the next administration. Yeah, and I agree totally.
Yep.
Biden said nah, I'm leaving that for the next administration. They can That's on them.
Yep.
Then the Supreme Court,
I'm
which
trying
is
to
the
go on
ultimate,
vacation. Like
the
I'm
seem
not even trying to deal with
they're
this
like
shit.
forget about Trump.
Yeah, right?
The Supreme Court has ruled that it's being upheld.
Oh,
So
period. Period.
the only way for TikTok to survive in the US was to meet the criteria that was established when they first made the ruling. And that is that TikTok needs to be bought by a US entity, or they need to have the servers in the US. It's something like that. But the main thing I think is that it needs to be have broken out to have like a TikTok America. And like
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole nother corporation that's being run in America.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unreasonable, personally.
No, and but it's just it's like you now see this. We were talking about this we in our
Last.
episodes how many years ago, KB, where I said China has been trying to become a superpower for donkey ass years, and now
And they're
you're giving
actually
them
there.
all this sensitive information. You know how many people are on the damn TikTok?
Mm,
You know how much information that is? Oh my god. The fact that America is now figuring this shit out, they already mined enough information. They already got what they needed. That's why
yeah.
you don't see a lot of resistance.
So,
The
yes.
resistance is not coming from the TikTok people, B. The resistance is coming from the people who are on the TikTok program. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the creators, because why the people are very upset, like the actual people who use it, is that TikTok is known for being really good with their creator payouts. So, like, say compared to like Instagram or YouTube,
Mhm.
the pay. I don't know with YouTube, but YouTube's pretty good from what I hear as well. But Meta, if you compare Meta and TikTok, you get better payouts as a creator. So that's
Mhm.
why the creators are having meltdowns right now, right? Um, Personally, for me, um, I stayed fairly far away from TikTok when it was getting on fire during the past
Mhm.
3 or 4 years or so.
Mhm.
Just because it's like, listen, Instagram already takes a lot of my screen time. I don't want to add, like, I don't like, I
Mhm.
know the algorithm on TikTok is the Instagram algorithm on crack, and I just don't want any part of it. I do not want to be addicted to my phone in any shape or form. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
And I also feel like, yeah, like even when you think about younger people who are probably even less resistant to be conscious of how these apps work and how they're designed to keep you scrolling and on there and on the
Mhm.
feeds. And so just this is my personal belief. So I'm like, hey, it sucks for those who were relying on it for income, but there's going to be a there's going to be a next thing. There's always a new thing. So right
Mhm.
now, TikTok is kind of suffering right now, but I'm sure the next best thing is going to happen soon. In fact, actually, what people are doing to be, I guess,
Mhm.
defiant to the U.S. government is they are downloading another app that is similar. I don't know if it's part of um the same parent company as TikTok, but they are turning to Red Note, which is
Mhm.
the Chinese equivalent of TikTok,
Yeah.
to be kind of like defiant to the US government,
Yeah.
who's saying that they are trying to protect their information and citizens information, and they're like, bump that.
Right?
We're going to use Red Note to, I don't know, what are they gonna do?
Well,
Because
stick it to the government and
to
say
stick it to the
screw
government.
you.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, you want to keep us away.
You
So
want to
it's
keep, okay, so you don't want us to use this Chinese platform. Okay, well, now we're going to go directly to the Chinese people and use their
yeah.
app.
There you
Like,
go. Yeah,
how dare you?
yeah.
Here's the thing with this whole TikTok ban is that
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the you people that are on the program, they are using it as their livelihood. So
Yeah.
for you to come along and just arbitrarily decide that you're going to take away my livelihood, well, yeah, they're going to want to say to the government, "Screw you." So they're
Mm-hmm.
finding their way over to the red note. They're TikTok refugees, new terminology over there on the red note, and they're
Mm-hmm.
being welcomed. That's what I'm hearing. A good reception, of people going on to Red Note, and it's been a lot of people who have gone over there, and I think they're primarily doing it because you can't. Why do you get to tell me as an American citizen what platform I can and cannot use? Now I understand that
Mm-hmm.
it does have some security breaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could definitely lead to security breaches in the States. And I understand them wanting to protect the American people. And some of these people who are on TikTok do not see that or
No.
that because they're making money and they're willing to sell their information to whoever as long as they're continuing to make an income. Lots of people have turned to TikTok as a form of income. So, like, how do you turn around and tell all these isn't it 1 point something billion people
Mm-hmm.
that are on? That's a lot of damn people. And let's just say, let's be conservative and say 10% of that 1.6 billion people are making an income off of this platform. How dare you? And so the
Mm.
people have spoken. Okay. They said you don't want us on the thing. Well, guess what? We are go right to China for them platform, yeah. Come tell me about what I can go on. Okay,
Hmm.
watch. But what I find interesting in this
Hmm.
TikTok ban is Mark Zuckerberg thought that people were just gonna rush to the Instagram, rush
Which
on
is,
back to the
mm,
Facebook, and then that got all.
no way. That's a joke. Mark Zuckerberg, stop this right now.
But it seems like he's trying to get himself in good bearings with Trump,
Mm-hmm.
by taking out what was that policy again?
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we
We
talked about it
talked about
last
it
week.
last
Yep.
show, right? And so
Mm.
he's trying to saddle himself with the right people, you know, and he doesn't really give a shit about these other platforms. He just wants to make more money, and that's it. That's all. And he was sadly mistaken when the people of TikTok said to even Mark Zuckerberg, "Keep your damn platforms, okay? We'd rather go over to Rednote where 99% of us cannot read anything that's on here.
Right?
Okay, can't understand nothing that's on
Yep.
here.
They're doing it's being harked as a big cultural exchange
I don't
between
know
the
how
Chinese.
spiteful you could get. Shit.
Yeah, yeah, it
Like,
is pretty
like
crazy.
we don't even know how to use this platform, but we go in.
And the main thing is, a lot of the creators are like, okay, one thing is content consumption, like you like the content
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the algorithm from TikTok, which is what the most similar thing is with Red Note, is the algorithm is similar to TikTok's, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, you're not getting. I don't think you can get paid because you have to set up the payment structure. I don't think you can transfer money from China to Americans just like that. I did some reading, I haven't seen anything, but I'm pretty sure y'all ain't getting paid for your content like you're getting paid with TikTok.
Well,
That's a major
I
thing.
don't see how that would be easily transferable.
Yeah, it's like, right? It's like you just can't, because of the tension between the two. Even to transfer money between the US and Canada, it's a lot easier now,
Yeah,
but it's still a process,
yeah,
more or less coming from a country where they have negative there's no, like, there's a lot of restrictions between because of the tension between the
yeah.
countries.
Yeah, and
Um
you know, okay, here's one thing I will say is that Americans are so at times, I love you American people who listen to us, but at times they're very arrogant to think that they're just going to go on a platform and now generate the same sort of popularity and income that they did on TikTok. Um, I know why they're doing it, so I
it's,
understand that.
yeah, it's a
They're trying to
rebellion.
stick it to the man. I get it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
it is actually kind of hilarious if you think about it, right? It is kind of funny. However, right, you're not just gonna go on that platform and just take over. So it's gonna take a lot of time. It's gonna take a lot of time for the level of success on TikTok to happen for these TikTok refugees on Red Note. And that's just the
Mhm.
truth. So there has to be somebody who's going to be innovative to come up with a whole new American platform that will be very similar to TikTok. It will be very similar to TikTok because they see the makeup of TikTok. It's not hard to duplicate. It really isn't. And so, let's stand back and see what happens because I really do think that there has to be something that is geared toward more towards Americans. And even though it's a nice novelty of sticking it to the government, after a while, when you're not making the same coin that you used to make on TikTok on this red note, because this is already an established platform. So people are already using it. People are already popular. People are already making their money. So now you know what I mean? Like it's gonna take time. It's not impossible, but I think that it's gonna take a. You need to learn the language. Let's start there.
Mhm.
You need to know what you're reading. Let's
Yeah,
start
and
there.
that's another thing that's all the activity that's going on. First, we need to learn how to communicate with each
Right?
other.
It's very important.
So interesting cultural moment with this. I think it's something that will be talked about in the history
Yes.
books, the way things people have decided to rebel against this decision. Um But yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I've already seen a lot of people posting that they can't use TikTok. I see in images where it's like pretty much they quote the Supreme Court's ruling because essentially, before we move on, it's it's not that TikTok is there. TikTok exists, but the app stores, the government says the app stores can't run updates. They can't do anything. So if your TikTok crashes because obviously you're not getting updates, then you're done for.
Right? It's
So
over.
that's what they're using. That's what's going on in the US. I won't be surprised if something similar happens in Canada. Right now, the ruling
Mm-hmm.
in Canada is they just can't operate an office. And they're not saying that users in Canada can use TikTok and for whatever reason, but they can't have an office headquartered here in Canada, and that's what's going on. We know they're fighting this because obviously we don't want Canadian people to lose their jobs.
Exactly.
So we'll see what goes on here in Canada, but because this was upheld in the US, it's not looking good.
No, and I
It's not
see
looking
that
good.
we do kind of take lead
Yeah.
sometimes on what Americans do. So,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
so we're gonna get into our one and only segment,
Hmm.
right? And so we are going to get into the workout. Yes, and then so this is where we work out our hearts and our mental fitness in deep dive discussions. And so this discussion is going to be about this inauguration. This inauguration, people.
Mm-mm.
My gosh. So, supposedly, well, I think they actually did the inauguration dinner. Didn't it already happen? I think
The dinner happened. I don't know if the show. I thought it was happening on inauguration
I
day.
think so. I think the show,
Mm.
but I think the warm up to the show, which is the dinner,
Okay,
I'm
happened. Yes,
seeing.
Friday. Yeah, it
Yeah,
happened Friday.
that yeah. So Snoop Dogg and Nelly are set to perform on the inauguration, which is
Mm.
Monday. And we need to talk about this because supposedly Rick Ross was also there.
Yeah, Rick Ross is a part of it too. Yep.
Yeah, he's also a part of this. And some other country music singers, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which great, but I'm not really interested in that part. What I'm interested in is Nelly, Snoop Dogg, and Rick Ross in the inauguration performing. Now we remember, let's go back, people, when Trump was first president.
Mm.
And how do you say her name again?
Chrisette
Chrisette
Michelle.
Chrisette Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
which was she's a beautiful. I would say she's more of R&B, but I don't know. She had a little bit of neo
Soul. I would say
soul
R&B soul.
neo
Yeah.
soul to her, and she's a brilliant artist. Well, she
Mm-hmm.
decided that she was going to perform at Trump's first inauguration, and she got the backlash of the century. Okay, I have never seen somebody dismiss somebody so damn quick. This woman was talked about from, oh my lord, everybody came for her. No, everybody said, how could you do this? You were cooning, you're a bed wench, you're everything underneath the
Mm-mm.
sun.
Every name but this name of God. Whew.
Okay?
Mhm.
About this woman who's trying to get a bag. Now, that bag, I don't know. I haven't seen that girl again. I have not heard any more music from her. She kind of went underground a little bit. But I remember the backlash that she received. I remember how this woman's career went from thriving to no more.
No more. Whew. Yeah. Yeah.
Sad how fast it happened too, because she put in work and she got dismissed at quick fast and
Hmm.
in a hurry. And we have never heard from her again. But here we are, another inauguration for Trump. And
Mm-hmm.
I must say that it's very surprising to see that Nelly and Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, he ain't nothing but a bag. That man ain't nothing about. He's just about it. All three of them are about a bag, right? But Rick Ross is the type of guy he will do just about anything. It seems like there's no integrity, a little bit. I don't know. That's how I feel about Rick Ross, um, because I don't know how you go from a parole officer to a rapper talking about moving weight.
Right?
So, right. That it's a little hard. It's a little hard for me to get my head wrapped around that. But Snoop Dogg, to see him, I know he tries to dibble dabble in political arenas a lot. And so I can see this being a political move
But the thing
for
is, if so, they
him.
have the video resurface from when he first got elected where he's cussing out Trump.
Oh,
But
okay.
I've heard a story where there is somebody in his camp who was one of the people that got pardoned by Trump. So that could probably likely contribute to him softening his stance on, his previous beliefs. I mean, people's beliefs change, but let people know. If he was rallying for Trump during the election, then it's like, okay, we know where Snoop stands, right? But he was pretty quiet, which maybe was something in itself.
Yeah, because he's about a bag. And
Yeah, and that's true. There's one thing about Snoop. We talked about this during the
yup,
Olympics.
Snoop
Snoop is
don't
about a
mind.
bag.
He's already sold his soul for a bag. So as
Mm,
far as I'm concerned, you know, um, so with Snoop, like we all understand, Snoop is a mogul at this point.
yes, yes. At this
Okay,
point,
and so he is so far past a brand, right? And to see that he's a part of this. Yet I remember distinctly when it was Chrisette Michelle, you were one of those people that called her everything but a child of God. So I find it so tables have turned where now you are performing for said Trump. Really? Now, Nelly, I can understand. You just had a baby the other day. You sold your whole catalog the other day. You ain't got nothing behind you at this point. You need to make a little change. Okay?
hmm
Not that it
yeah,
excuses
Nelly, I
it,
understand.
but
Like
I
when
can
I first,
understand more from Nelly. He has a young family.
yeah, yeah, Nelly needs some
He
money.
needs some
Point
money. He
period.
sold his
Period.
catalog
Point
for
blank.
50 mil. That running out.
Right? Can you imagine?
That's running
Oh,
out.
I forgot. We talked about that. That's oh boy.
That's soon finish.
He was just arrested the other day for being
Uh-huh.
for holding drugs.
Oh,
So
okay. So we see you desperate.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're in a bind right now. But
Yeah.
Snoop,
Ashanti
I
is like, find it. Remember all those cars you were gifting me? Yeah, go find it, sir. Go find what you got to do. I'm on maternity leave.
yeah. So
Okay.
I read some more details on the actual event, and so like
Mm-hmm.
you said, it was a pre-inauguration event and it's private. That's probably why some of them agreed because they didn't.
Yeah.
Well, they probably was going to get out, but it wasn't going to be televised, right? So it's a private event for like all the people in
But that speaks
crypto.
more to your integrity because it's
Again,
like,
it continues like you said, it's about a
yeah,
bag and no
yeah,
nothing else, no morality, no integrity.
100%.
Somebody offered you a crazy ridiculous amount of money and you said yerp.
Right?
um hey, and I mean, at the end of the day, like, here's my thing. I just need that same energy. That it comes down to people have been doing things, shameless things for a bag since the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of time. That's nothing new, right? But I think with this is like, it's particularly with Snoop, Rick Ross. I think financially is actually very well off because he invests.
Yes, he's
He's invest.
wealthy.
He
He's
has a
up
lot
there.
of. He's
Yeah.
up there, so he's another one where I'm like, you don't need it, but he is still kind of like a B list to me.
Yeah.
But Nelly, I'm like, yeah, Nelly's heyday is long gone. So
Long gone.
yeah, like, it's all the points you brought up. Okay, but Snoop, for me, the one I'm really hurt by is Snoop, because Snoop does not need this bag.
None at all. That's why I feel like it's a political move. That's why he's trying to be political. He wants to step in this arena. He wants to be able to throw his
Hmm,
weight around in this arena. Because what would
interesting.
make Trump say, Snoop, come and perform for me? Like, really?
Yeah, so back to the details of the private event. So
Mm-hmm.
the event is hosted by David Bailey. And he's a part of a crypto company, Stand with Crypto, and some
Mhm.
other like digital Exodus and Kraken. And guests include several crypto industry heavyweights and insiders, on top of
Mhm.
Trump and whoever Trump wants to invite, I guess. An invitation shared on social media indicated the event cost 2,500 per person.
Wow.
So this is a big money thing, and it's private, and it's probably rallying to bring up money for who knows what the money's being used for, to be honest. So
Mm,
people paid 2,500 to see these people in the lineup, and probably it is kind of like a mini victory. I feel like it's probably, they can't say this, but
mhm.
it's kind of like a mini victory event. And there's no there's no, like, it's not a public event where media is invited. So we're really not going to know what's going on. I'm sure we're going to see some videos come up across social media in the next, if not tonight, then tomorrow, right?
Mhm.
Um, but my issue here is the double standard. So you brought up Chrisette Michelle.
Mhm.
Is it What could be the reason, Kimmy,
Okay.
where Chrisette Michelle
Okay.
sang a gospel song at the
Say it.
inauguration
Mhm.
of Trump's first presidency in 2016 and got completely ripped
Okay.
to shreds
Okay.
by I'm going to say the culture, the hip hop culture, the black community, whatever you want to call it. The culture said, Chrisette Michelle, you are no more.
Yep.
She suffered miscarriage. She suffered suicidal ideation.
Okay.
They really came after that girl. Right. Then, fast forward, now we're in 2025.
Okay. Wasn't long ago. Mhm.
Trump is going to be inaugurated for his second presidency, and we have Snoop, Nelly, and Ricky Rose.
Okay.
I heard, this is a joke, but I mean this is true, but it's still kind of a joke. I heard that Soldier Boy was also spotted there as well.
Oh,
No surprise. I don't know. I'm like,
no.
no, Soldier Boy. He's in Nelly category, and that, listen, they need to get a check anywhere they can get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but at
they
least
don't.
Soldier Boy was a little bit smarter with his money because he invested in stuff. But
That's true. He
Nelly,
did
like,
invest.
that's why when I heard Nelly, I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
I think Nelly invests too, but I don't think he's done anything big like like
No.
really big endeavors like Rick
No.
Ross and stuff like that. Um, but yeah. So, and then fast forward to where we're at now. The four hip hop artists that all men, as I just mentioned to you.
Mhm.
And I don't feel like I don't feel like they're getting the same vitriol. Like, people are
No.
disappointed. I am seeing people are disappointed and stuff, but I don't see the same vitriol that was thrown on Chrisette Michelle being thrown on these four dudes.
Okay.
And it's something about it is upsetting my soul. I wonder what it could be. I
Well,
wonder what the difference is.
the difference is that how people came for her because she decided, okay, like, your political beliefs are your political beliefs, right? And
Hmm.
I don't think personally, because your beliefs might be different than mine, that you're not a good person, or that you shouldn't still be listened to as a musician or an artist or whatever. I don't think that it's fair to say that when she made that decision to side with the with Trump's party and perform, that it shouldn't have been looked at purely as a bag.
Hmm.
And that's it. Because when we compare her career to a Snoop Dogg, she's considered a B or C lister.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why did she get so much hype?
I
Is
actually
it
saw
because she was
this.
black
This is I just came across an
and a
old
woman?
article that was
I
done
don't
by
understand.
right.
She did the
That's kind of
exact
what
same thing that they're doing now, and some people could say that she was more progressive because
Kim.
she held true to what party she sided with. Now
Yeah, because
everybody wants to make a meme and wants to talk about it on podcasts about
hmm.
what they believe,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden it's okay.
No, no,
That
so there was an
poor girl
old thing that surfaced.
she got ran through the fucking mud, bro.
Coles. Yeah, she's old. I saw an old post of
My,
headline
and it
post.
was for years,
Yeah,
years.
They said there's a article she did. The top 2 points that they were said that her career was in shambles. She was so bullied so bad she became depressed. She was paid 75K.
Wow.
Seven, not even 100.
Okay.
Not
So
even
she
rounding it up.
probably got through 1 year after that whole shenanigans, and then what?
That 75K is not for somebody of her level. That's
No.
2 months at best.
Okay.
She never even met him, and she did
Wow.
not vote for him.
So okay.
She didn't even
So it
meet
was
the man.
purely a bag. But yet this
Hmm.
girl it was sad.
It was sad, and now seeing this, it's even sadder. I would hate to be her right now, seeing this, but I mean, again, people are making comments, but there's nowhere near the vitriol, and the attack doesn't seem as vicious as it was the first, in 2016 for Chrisette Michelle, and that's what's really bothering my soul. I just need y'all to have the same energy. People are gonna do what they're gonna do for money. That's nothing new, like we said, but I think it's unconscionable that
A lot of
this
people
girl,
are upset that Snoop has decided to do this. A lot of
they
his
are
fans.
upset, they are, but I still don't
But
feel that
but
same energy.
and that's the thing is that Snoop has done things before to upset his fans because he really doesn't ultimately care. He wants your
Money first.
money, but he doesn't, and he wants you to promote his brand, right? However, he doesn't really care
No.
because this is a part of his brand. Being a
Hmm.
shocker. Wasn't everybody shocked that one of his buddies is Martha Stewart?
Hmm.
I know I was shocked. I was like, what? Am I seeing, not to say you can't be friends, but they're close.
Hmm.
They're really close. Like they're really good friends. And and I feel like a lot of Snoop Dogg's brand is shock.
Hmm.
It's going, doing the opposite of doing what people don't expect you to do or whatever. I He didn't need this bag, so what would be the other reason for him to do it? Because, like I said, I could understand Nelly. Okay, Ashanti she's on maternity leave. You better find the money, man. Okay, but Rick Ross, really? Now, Rick Ross, we see you'll sell your soul for a bag. You know what I mean? And yeah, you have lots of bags, and you have lots of businesses too. But does your music hold weight in the music industry the way it used to? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Right? And so, like you said, he's not on a Snoop Dogg level, Rick Ross. I'm not going to say he hasn't, made headways in the industry. He has, but for the most part, you're not on the level of the mogul that is Snoop Dogg. So to
Mm.
see, and then weren't you, like you said, you were just cussing about Trump the other day, though. So you see
Yeah,
the two facedness.
but I think the wrench, the I'm not. We know where I stand on this. I'm totally against the fact that he did this, and I think he looks very like greedy and gluttonous for doing this.
Because Snoop
But
don't need it.
he doesn't need it at all. Okay, but to your point, you made something this political, having political sway, and so when I look up and I saw in 2021, Snoop Dogg made a public statement thanking Trump because he pardoned the co-owner of Death Rows at the time, Michael Harry O'Harris, who was in jail for murder and cocaine trafficking. Um, and so this person was very influential in the start of Death Row Records, and Trump pardoned him. And I kind of feel like this is some circling, just like we see Kodak Black licking Trump's boots, and we see what's his name, Lil Wayne, licking
Mm-hmm.
Trump's boots. You know what? If somebody saved me from 10, 15 years of rotting in prison, I don't know. I don't know how I'd act. I don't know how I'd act. I don't know how I'd
Right,
act.
right. Okay.
I would hope I'm not licking anybody's boots, but I think I would definitely be showing appreciation.
And it's sad because you're willing to sell up the culture just for that.
Ooh, I know, right? I know.
That's the part that
It's
gets me is that
yeah.
you're willing to sell up the culture, to sell up the community, the community, the black community for a pardon. of one man.
One man who wasn't your family.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
The
Right?
man's influence on death row was that he gave
If
Suge
that was
Knight.
your son, I could understand.
Okay, that's different. That's different. Yeah.
Okay? Because, you'll do whatever you need to do. Or if it was your dad, okay, then okay, maybe I can see why you sell up the culture for that. But what are you saying? Like, this is what I have in this election process, right? What I have really been struggling with is to see so many really relevant, wealthy people within the music industry, just they're getting involved in an arena that we are being used as puppets in, and they go along with it. They go along with it, but they don't see what it says to the world about us as a community. Because you don't think someone saw you cuss out Trump, and because he gave you something or he pardoned you, then you're willing to sell us up just like that? And on a world stage? For real? Like, that's the part that kind of hurts my soul. When I saw all the people that were involved in this last election, and the fact that we're now seeing Trump and his inauguration and the lineup that he has? For real? So that's all it took for you to sell us out like that? Wow. And so now you expect me to still buy your music. And you still expect me to want to put your t-shirts on my body. And listen to your podcasts. Because that's their new thing. Right? So it's like, I don't know. Like, it really rubs me the wrong way. It makes me look at Snoop a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It does.
For me,
it does.
It does hurt. It does hurt. For me, it's hurtful because I always saw Snoop as the fun uncle.
Yeah.
And yeah.
A part of our community that was able to be in rooms that our community has never been in before. To be in, business deals that we could only wish to have done. To have such you are a mogul at this point. Because when's the last time Snoop put out music? Right? So he's been riding his coattail on this brand that he's created, and it's so sad that one man gets pardoned, and so you're willing to sell your soul to the highest bidder. Like, miss me with the bullshit, bro. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Anyhow, but that's just what I'm saying. So anywho, we're just gonna, I guess, close off this episode that we have here. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I will say we hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. Whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful. We'll talk to y'all real soon.